Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randirhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
It is Election Day in the state of Virginia, the most closely watched race of this year. Ralph Northam, physician, VMI graduate, Democrat, at this hour, 58% reporting. He is at 51%. Ed Gillespie, former Republican Party head, he is at 48%. Numerically, fairly close. But Northam in the lead at this hour. Of course, we're going to bring you the results as we get them minute by minute. We've got breaking news here. Okay, we are now reporting that Ralph Northam has won the Virginia governor's race. Ralph Northam, the Democrat, beating Ed Gillespie with 58% in. We are projecting that he is the winner tonight.
Ow! They didn't want to report that. They really, really did not want to do that. And in fact, they stopped doing it after, Ed Gillespie lost last night by 9 points. 9 points he lost by. Oh, they did not. You want to hear Sean Hannity? Oh, this is hysterical. Okay, let me just tell you that sad Tucker Carlson, he had to announce because it happened in real time, and they put the graphic up on the screen and left him no choice but to report the loser was his guy. The loser was a former chairman of the RNC, a former Bush guy, counselor to George W. Bush, a former lobbyist on case. This is who they ran. Okay, this is who they ran, and of course they lost. Well, now, what's really interesting about Ed Gillespie is the ads he ran and how disgustingly Trumpian they were. Saying that, he even called Ed Northam, who was his Democratic challenger, they called him a pedophile. The man is he's a graduate of VMI. He was an army doctor for 10 years, for 8 years. And he's a pediatrician on top. And they said he was a pedophile. I mean, that's how dirty this campaign got. So I'll play you the ads. But first, I want to draw your attention to this. If you watch Fox News, which I know most of you don't, but some of you do, which is really sick and twisted. Today, we're going to express to you why you should never watch that crap and show you what fake news actually is. But I just want you to know that if you watched Fox News last night, you did not know there was an election. I mean, you would have had no clue. You know why? Fox News went 100 minutes after that was announced. They went 100 minutes without mentioning what was happening outside of Sean Hannity's protective bubble. Literally, Sean Hannity, I swear to God, Sean Hannity covered this election with, I swear to you, count them yourselves, everybody, 14 words. 14.
Hey,
Thanks,
Sean.
Tucker. By the way, those results in Virginia, New Jersey, New York, by the way, not states Donald Trump won.
That was it. That was the election coverage on Sean Hannity's show last night. That was it. New Jersey was in the hands of one Chris Christie, who was part of the Trump campaign. You know, remember him from the hostage video? For those of you who don't recall who Chris Christie, remember the proof of life video where he was just standing there like listening to Donald Trump talk going, what am I, oh my God, wow, am I really, wow. So Chris Christie was replaced last night with a Democrat. Sean Hannity, just 14 words. And Laura Ingraham, little Lala, she went, I swear her show went on she's on at 10 o'clock for those of you who don't follow the Breitbart media lineup that has, Fox News was always bad. It was always disinformation. Now it's flat out misinformation and avoidance of information and all this stuff. But it's amazing. So Lala, she's now new in the lineup. Lala went 50 minutes into her show without mentioning that there were elections last night. And there were lots of elections last night. It was like watching East German TV. 50 minutes into her show. Now, Tucker, you saw sad Tucker have to announce because they put the graphic up live. And then Sean and the handoff to Tucker, from Tucker, devoted 14 whole words. And Lala didn't mention anything about elections. And there were elections in New Jersey. There was an election in New York where they sit. They had an election for mayor in New York, in Trump's hometown. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Okay, Bill de Blasio is, a very, very liberal Democrat, and he won handily last night. It was easy. It was a cakewalk. And this is Trump's hometown. Can you imagine if Bill de Blasio had lost in Trump's hometown last night? I mean, oh, come on. So she waits 50 minutes, and this was the entirety of her coverage.
And Ed Gillespie tried to do this dance that I'm not going to campaign with Trump, but he'll tweet for me and he'll do a last-minute robocall. I think in the end that came off as desperate. And what if Gillespie had campaigned on preserving our history respectfully, Virginia first, law and order? Mm-hmm. Simple.
Okay, let's look at Ed Gillespie's ads, because he did do Southern Heritage right out of the Trump playbook, and he did do Law and Order. I don't know why. And Trump did campaign for Ed Gillespie. He did make robocalls for Ed Gillespie. He was tweeting like crazy to vote for Ed Gillespie on his 45 million Twitter followers or whatever. How could he? I mean, I don't even understand. How do you have 25 million Twitter if there's only 7 million people on Twitter? Okay, let's just review Ed Gillespie's fabulous campaign.
For governor, there's a clear choice. Ralph Northam wants to take down Virginia's Civil War monuments.
Yes.
I will do everything that I can to remove the statues at the state level.
Ralph Northam will take our statues down. Ed Gillespie will preserve them.
I'm for keeping them up, and he's for taking them down. And that's a big difference in November.
On November 7th, vote Ed Gillespie for governor.
I'm Ed Gillespie, candidate for governor, and I sponsored this ad.
The people of Virginia were supposed to vote statuary. They were supposed to vote on statuary and preserving the Southern heritage. And of course, that was right out of the Trump playbook after Charlottesville. All right, so that was that. And then here's his Law and Order ad.
Last year, Terry McAuliffe and Ralph Northam instituted the automatic restoration of rights for violent felons and sex offenders, making it easier for them to obtain firearms and allowing them to serve on juries. One of these felons, John Bowen, had his rights restored 2 months after being found with one of the largest child pornography collections in Virginia's history. 43 prosecutors, Republicans, Democrats, and independents opposed Ralph Northam's reckless policy. Now, Virginia law enforcement has endorsed Ed Gillespie for governor.
Virginians who have paid their debt to society and are living an honest life should have their rights restored. But Ralph Northam's policy of automatic restoration of rights for unrepentant, unreformed, violent criminals is wrong. As governor, I'll be both compassionate and protecting of Virginia families. I'm Ed Gillespie, candidate for governor, and I sponsored this ad.
And you lost. And so Ralph Northam's ad.
Ed Gillespie's false attacks. Independent press says they're false, fear-mongering, absurd. Ralph Northam went to VMI and was an Army doctor for 8 years. In Richmond, Dr. Northam helped pass longer sentences for gang members and mandatory life sentences for violent sexual predators.
I'm Ralph Northam, candidate for governor, and I sponsored this ad because I'm a pediatrician. And for Ed Gillespie to say I would tolerate anyone hurting a child is despicable.
It was despicable. It was very Trumpian. And they're sitting there looking there and she goes, they should have run on Southern heritage and law and order. That's exactly what...
And Ed Gillespie tried to do this dance that I'm not going to campaign with Trump, but he'll tweet for me and he'll do a last-minute robocall. I think in the end that came off as desperate. What if Gillespie had campaigned on preserving our history respectfully, Virginia first, law and order? Mm-hmm. Simple.
That's exactly what he did. But it's exactly what he did. They followed this ridiculous Trump playbook and it failed. And here is why it failed. Here's the exit polls, just so you understand what's going on in this country. And this is pretty much great news, okay? And today is, a year. It's a year to the day that we went to the polls and some morons picked Donald Trump for the presidency. And now they're sorry. This is what last night's election was, and we'll go through some of these results because they're amazing. It's really incredible. You've got Phil Murphy elected governor of New Jersey, replacing the fabulous and wonderful Chris Christie. Chris Christie got into it last night with some of the voters. He just won't stop fighting with people. I mean, he's just like, I don't know what Chris's problem is. He's just like Trump. They're just such bullies. They get in people's faces. They scream. They yell. They call people idiots and stupid. And, and Chris Christie, I swear to God, had at one point a 70% approval rating in New Jersey. And his second term, he won so easily. That's why they started talking about Chris Christie as presidential material. Okay? And then we elected Trump. And now everybody's like, oh, snap. This is bizarro world we're in. So the exit polls bear that out last night. Trump's approval rating among Virginia voters was 42%. Disapproval was 58%, almost 60%. And even more importantly, half of Virginians said Trump was a major factor in their vote last night. And they said that they wanted to send a signal of opposition to President Trump. And you look at some of these Virginia counties, Loudoun County in Virginia, Bob McDonnell, the Republican, remember Bob McDonnell, used campaign money to pay for his daughter's wedding and had to pay it back and was thrown out and just, humiliated on the public. Well, Bob McDonnell won Loudoun County by 15,000 votes. 15,000 votes. And last night, Ralph Northam won that same county by 20,000 votes. Something is afoot in Loudoun County. You understand that? Yeah, something, it's just stunning. And then there's this other little county that you should pay attention to. It's called Chesterfield, and it includes the city of Richmond. It is the ancestral home of country club Republicans. It is the Old Dominion. Okay, yeah, Howard's shaking his head because, Howard lived in D.C. in this area for 37 years. I think he knows, that this is all true. This is where the business conservatives dominate. This is where they club. This is where they golf. This is where they, do all the Chamber of Commerce stuff. This is where they organize their associations for business. Okay, it is gentility. It is the Old Dominion, the Old South. It is, Southern gentlemen, Southern money. Hillary Clinton, for example, lost Chesterfield County by 4,000 votes in 2016. That was a big improvement over Barack Obama, who lost it by about 16,000 votes. Yeah, Northam won last night by about 1,000 votes. So something's afoot. And this is why it's like watching East German TV. This is what Fox News is not there to give you news or to inform. They're to placate the audience and to say, don't worry, everything's okay. You can still worship the racist. You can still applaud when you see these commercials. Oh, and another thing Ed Gillespie ran commercials about. Sanctuary cities, saying that Ed Northam was for sanctuary and would preserve. There are no sanctuary cities in Virginia. I mean, this whole campaign was so freaky and so absurd and fraudulent. And the voters in Virginia had it. And that is why these very Southern, very conservative, very old line Southern money counties said, no, we want to send a message that this is just bullcrap. And this has got it. And that's why Fox News, I swear to God, 14 words he said.
Hey, thanks, Tucker. By the way, those results in Virginia, New Jersey, New York, by the way, not states Donald Trump won.
Wait a minute, Sean. Are you saying Donald Trump didn't win his home state? Because I remember when Al Gore lost Tennessee. Oh, my God, I heard about that for years. Well, it was Al Gore. He couldn't even win his home state of Tennessee. Why? Because we had a rigged election. We had an election that was decided by the U.S. Supreme Court, which, according to our Constitution, has no say in how the state chooses its electors, federalism being what it is and all. But for years, I had to listen to how Al Gore lost Tennessee. Donald Trump lost his home state. And they elected one of the most liberal mayors New York has ever had, easily last night. And then there's a really, really great election in Virginia, a very local for the state. Oh, by the way, the state legislature in Virginia is practically in Democratic hands, and New Jersey is. RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.